Welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we are going to be doing our second round of 5v5. We're still in the first week. We didn't do too hot against our last opponent. We did our best, but he was a really good player and he had a little bit more tools than we did, but overall it was a really good match. And now we're up against Inc or Inc. Overall, looks like it's going to be a pretty good opponent. He's going to be a little bit closer to us in regards to like material and whatnot. Does have a million legacy lifetime banners, so he has been a fan of GAC for a hot minute now. But before we go ahead and get into the defensive setup, let's look a little bit what he's got going on roster-wise. So not too far off from us. He has only 231 more relic levels, which it's a little bit closer than the last bro. I think he had at least 300 or so. Overall, we have him beaten Omicrons too, which that's actually not one of the rare things to happen. That actually is somewhat common now. A lot of times they will have all of them that we do, kind of like this guy. But yeah, I think he's missing Dash, which Dash isn't that big of a deal, but he's missing two. Yeah, he doesn't have Wampa. Wampa, that changes the field a little bit. And he doesn't have first order TIE Pilot either, which is rather new, but is also still pretty good. So we have the advantage in that regard. And then we have him, this is the weird thing. We have him the opposite effect of what we have with Brel. We have this guy. So we have him beaten plus 20s and plus 25s. Again, by small margins, like 8 or 12. It's not anything astronomical. But then he's got us beat by plus 15s. So, I mean, it's about even across the board. Relics, we already kind of went over that. But yeah, so that's his roster stat-wise. Let's go ahead and bring back up and see what he's been doing on defense. And he had, or at least I looked, he had already attacked my bottom wall. He'd already gotten through that. It looks like, all right, so I think I know what he's doing. But so let's go ahead and look at our defense. We've been, again, trying to set things to pull out any of his GL counters, and he used to set 4 or 5 GLs on defense, and we'll get to his defense in a second, but he set all 6 on us. So again, had I known, oh no, there he goes. Had I known he was going to do that, I definitely would have placed my JMK up front. Maybe that wouldn't have worked out just because he would have used the bounty hunter 2-shot or something like that. But yeah, so now, oh my gosh, okay. So he had to 2-shot Mon Mothma. Hux is the second time Hux has held, actually. He's at 100% hold rate, so that's pretty cool. And then Dash even held once. So he's definitely running low on fumes. That actually has me a little worried, because that probably means his back wall's pretty good. We'll see how he does against Fleet. I would love for him to struggle against Fleet. Don't know if he will, but yeah, because if he struggles against Fleet, then we just have to clear bottom. We call it a day, which would be a lot easier, because yeah, his top wall's pretty nasty. I mean, the Hux team is kind of whatever. The Iden team is also kind of whatever. Oh, it has, oh, interesting. I guess maybe he was bad batch against this. So we put TIE Fighter Pilot in here to stop Wampa. But that actually, I mean, that opens up a ton of other counters. Yeah, that won't be too hard. C with Malik, that does suck, though, because we can't use Wampa there. And he never put Malik with C. So this is, I don't know if this is special for us or special this round. And he's got Nest with SLKR there. And I mean, Nest is going to stop troopers, but at the same time, if I can 2-shot your SLKR with troopers, I'll take it. Like, that's okay. Then bottom wall is just a bunch of GLs, which I don't know. There's only a few things that I know I have to do, like JMK has to be JML. We know that has to be that way, and Lord Vader has to be SLKR. But the other two, it's kind of up in the air. I really haven't figured out what I want to do yet, but we'll have to figure it out soon enough. So let's go ahead and get to them. All right, and here come the battles. So we do have to take down his JMK. Like we saw before, he put a lot of Galactic Legends down, and luckily he didn't have any broken datacrons on this JMK. You can see there in the very beginning, though, we did not land the ability block on JMK. That is really not ideal, but we were able to increase his cooldowns. We're able to do everything that's normal. We're able to swap turn meter with Giant Luke, stun everyone. That does, even without the ability block, that really does help keep them at bay a little bit. Their Jedi Master Kenobi got to his ult really quickly, and we're, again, without the Hell Steal there, we're already able to burn through Ahsoka's Savior, rather JMK Savior mechanic. They burn through Savior, and this is really kind of why JMY is there, is he's such a hard target for the enemy. And then I think we honestly probably did get a little bit of good RNG here. They just kept on focusing Jedi Knight Luke. And out of this entire team, Jedi Knight Luke is by far the tankiest. That was really nice. We're able to get our ultimate. We don't have GMY there when we got ultimate. And I really hate how that functions between like Jolie and Jedi Master Luke. If you get the ultimate, someone dies and you revive them, whatever character was dead doesn't get the ult. So As you can see, we're able to take down Ahsoka. We end up killing Cat as well. So I mean, at this point, it's game over. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is a timeout now. They just don't have enough damage to get through us, but we just keep working on Padme. Without Cat's bonus stats, they don't have a lot to go off on, and then we're able to even knock down Padme without even having to use the lead. The Mace's little whatchamacallit ability there wasn't enough either, and then yeah, it's just JMK, and at this point in the battle, he's just not winning. We're trying to see who is the closest to having protection up, and I think it was Jedi Knight Luke, so we just keep calling him in, and yeah, we actually finished with pretty good banners, three full protection. And the next team we need to take out is this Lord Vader team, and this is an easy decision as to which counter to use. We immediately apply the tank tech there, so we don't get stuck with healing immunity, and really not good. Before we're even able to make a move, our crew is dead and our zombie isn't taunting, and this was a really big mistake on my part. I don't know if this cost us the entire battle or whatever, but it was definitely the wrong choice. We stunned first instead of getting the taunt onto our SLKR. This is really bad, because that allowed Daka to die. Honestly, Daka might have died, and the reason why I say that, I don't think it was a guaranteed loss or a guaranteed win if we had done that. Typically, when my Daka dies once and she comes back via revive, she doesn't typically make it. Like, it's the dots end up eating her or something like that. And you can see that just ended up in a full-blown loss. And that really, I don't mean to spoil things, but as you guys can probably saw, that really put us, it's a loss at this point. We no longer have anything that can counter that. We might be able to get through everything else. We might be able to test some new counters. We might be able to get some cool stuff to work. But at the end of the day, we're not getting the win because our opponent has already cleared both of the front two walls, which means he's already going to be able to get access to both the back ones, which is not really great for us. And at the same time, even if everything else works, we're not going to be able to get through his front walls, and we're just done. So we do still want to try our best here. We want to gain as much knowledge as we can from this fight. So we go ahead and we take our Lord Vader versus C. I mean, that's the fight that's been going on right now. And this one, I think it's honestly quite hard to lose, and I'm a little shocked that it's hard to lose with the amount of ability blocks and shock and healing immunity they have. Sidious ate it rather quickly, which was great. Didn't have to do with his healing immunity. I really wanted to get Talon down too, because Talon's bonus stats just make everything worse. But yeah, Lord Vader just wrecks this team, even with Malik there, even with Talon there. Not a whole lot the enemy can do. I mean, at this point, we probably could just put it on auto. Like, once it's down to just the two of them, they're not going to get through it. So, yeah, this goes just about as well as you would think it would. This is actually kind of, ever since getting Lord Vader up and running, this is how we're using him. And I really don't hate this. Like, the C Malik build, it's a pretty good team. Like, I don't think there's any really non-GL that's going to be able to beat it very well. Like, C without Malik, sure, but C with Malik, it does become a lot more challenging. So yeah, at this point, we just had it on auto, and we just wrecked him. So this was really nice. It's also just nice to have a high banner win against the Galactic Legend. So he has this interesting team with SLKR and the rest of Sith Empire, and we did just the math, but I'm like, okay, so there's no way they can stop return meter. I'm pretty sure we can just trooper this. So we taken Shore, obviously, to eat the stun. I had to take Gideon rather than Range or Stark, because Stark would decrease turn meter and give SLKR a ton of health and protection, make him really hard to kill. And Range, unfortunately, wasn't fast enough. Like, if we didn't have Gideon here, Darth Revan would have been able to take a turn, and it probably would have ended very, very poorly. So we go all in on Set. We really have to. The armor shred from Gideon did make a really big difference. Now, obviously, we're just going to go and kill the one character that we can, get her out of there. And now, I'm really trying to figure out what to do here, because we need more turn meter to kind of keep things going. But at the same time, nobody's going to assist. Nobody's going to assist against Darth Revan, and he's the next one to die. Because Nest is kind of just not going to die, unfortunately, against Troopers. But, if we can kill SLKR and Darth Revan, anything will clean Nest up. That's really not... That's not our goal here, is to kill Nest. Our goal is to kill everyone else, and then sure, our opponent can have the 20 banners or whatever it is that comes from that. But yeah, so now we're trying to analyze this. I'm like, okay, do I one-shot Darth Revan right here, or do I need to wait it out? We go for it. He actually equalizes, and we still win. We still kill him, rather. So now it's just SLKR, and at this point, we've got almost 30 stacks of Emperor's Trap. That's a lot of offense, and Dark just nails him. So now ended up getting stuck behind Nest, as kind of troopers do. Honestly, I think there might have been a way to finesse that if we had gotten Mark onto shore and then shore ate it, and then maybe P had enough damage, but it's kind of risky. So this Iden team was very anti-Wampa. They put in TIE Fighter Pilot there, but the issue with TIE Fighter Pilot is he really ruins a lot of other stuff that Iden does when she doesn't have her exact requirements, so that she doesn't get her bonus turn at the very beginning. So we just came with Bad Bash and just tore the team apart. Like, she doesn't even get a revive. The team also didn't have an Omicron, but I don't think it really mattered. Days and healing immunity wouldn't have cared if she had her Omicron anyways. So we go ahead and take in this little Empire 10 versus First Order. We mostly did this for fun. I really wanted to see what the cooldown debuff Datacron would do for Vader, because of the amount of debuffs he puts out and how important his cooldowns are to get back to Merciless Massacre. So it doesn't end up being anything super groundbreaking. I mean, it does lessen it so that we're able to use Merciless back-to-back with the help of Thrawn. What I really wanted to see is not needing Thrawn if we were just being able to loop it, and that obviously was not the case, but I mean, it's, things worked out fine, and we had 3 other Empire characters there. I would say that they were useless, but at the same time, I don't know if Vader would have gone in front of Hux without them, so they got to play their part. So that was a really easy kill. And now we're just, again, we're trying to get through what we can on his GLs. We don't have any of our own left, and he still has, I think, 3 standing or something like that. It might be 2. And JML, Grievous has an outside shot against a lot of JML comps. Jolie does make this comp a little bit of a pain in the butt just because he has so much survivability. He becomes very hard to kill on just AoEs. And also this is really unfortunate. Our Magna just kind of eats it. And if we had another character to help generate turn meter and whatnot, that would have been really nice, but we didn't. And there is the big fear here as well that Jolie is just going to revive whatever Jedi we kill. Watt is gone, which is very nice, but we're just not getting as much turn meter as we should have been with Magna not being there. So now we get it just down to the 2 of them. And I'm like, okay, we could probably just let this time out. Like, I don't want Jolie to come back and revive everyone. So we end up coming back. Oh, actually, sorry. We end up going for Rey first because I wanted to see if we could get Rey down in one shot, and then we could figure out what to do. So that battle, Jolie and Jedi Master Luke are still standing. And we just took in a bunch of tanks here just to make sure we could get at least the 2 stacks of Beskar on C. We get 3, which, I mean, this is probably, I think I pressed auto at this point in the battle. Like, as long as JTR is the one who eats it from the link or the, whatever you want to call it, the big zap, there's really nothing Rey can do here. Like, this is going to be just fine. So we end up killing her, and we probably could have autoed it from here as well. Just not only do we get the 2 stacks, so we have extra health and whatnot, but we also, the 3 stacks also make sure pretty much the resistance cerebros can't do any damage to us because they can't crit. So the only thing that's doing anything is Rey. And of course we get back to full protection and full health, and yeah, she just can't do anything. It's actually a pretty easy battle, all things considered, even with my junky tanks in there. And now the rest of the battle is just trying to kill Jedi Master Luke and Jolie. And I'm gonna be honest, at this point we knew we were gonna lose, because while we could probably get down JML, we know we can't get through Lord Vader, and that's just game. So a lot of this was just experimentation. There was a little bit of thought that went into it. We weren't just mashing buttons, but so we take in Geos here, and pretty much the goal is just for Spy to maybe get a big hit off on Jolie. I was a little hesitant to try to get the big hit off on Jedi Master Luke himself, just because he's really tanky, and even if we do kill him, then Jolie can just bring him back and we're back to square one. So we brought Dooku here, not because Dooku's better, because he's kind of not, but we brought him here because we use Sunfac kind of in a dumb way against that team up top. But I mean, there are some things about Dooku that's nice, like being able to stealth. So they Jedi Master Luke is pretty consistently putting buff immunity, you guys can see that right now, onto our Brute, and that's really bad because he's not technically taunting, but if Dooku goes and stealths everyone else, he is taunting, in a way. So yeah, we keep working on Jedi Master Luke, trying to make sure we're getting the ability blocks every single time. It does become a little bit difficult in some moments because he is very, very fast. But yeah, so he just keeps getting on his basic. We're holding our big hit for the right move here, and getting really, really close. But now, yeah, he doesn't have the ability block, and Poggle refuses to land it on him twice in a row, even with tenacity down. So he gets a big hit there and, kills someone. I'm like, all right, so let's try the big hit here with Spy. Let's see how far we get. This will remove debuffs, but at the same time, JML has a lot of natural crit avoid. Not just crit immunity, but crit avoid in his kit with his mastery. So if this doesn't crit, that's like pretty much all of our damage. And I don't think it did. So I mean, just didn't do any damage to all the JML. We just exited out. So now we try our best of the team. Pretty much, I call these leftovers, but all 5 of these characters are pretty decent. But this is what was left over after we went and attacked his JMK. And we're trying to keep him ability blocked with Bastila the entire time so that he can't do any of his funny stuff, like get to his whatchamacallit. But unfortunately, he does resist a fair amount, just too much. And really, lone JML is fairly easy to clean up. But if you give him one ally, the Jedi can even be kind of garbage. Jolie's not garbage, but the Jedi can be garbage. As long as he's getting to use his lead ability, he is still very, very lethal. And this really does kind of suck because both Geos and this Bastila team are really good at cleaning up lone GLs. And just the fact that Jolie's there causes a massive amount of issues. And I mean, like this, I would think both these teams would have no issues cleaning him up had Jedi Master Luke not been there. So we finally just kind of gave in. And really, we should have done this from the beginning. If we were really concentrated on what we were doing, we would have taken Bounty Hunters first in, gotten our contract with Ayla, and then zapped Jolie out of there. So then we could have gone in and taken our Geos or our Bastila team or whatever it was, and they would have probably just slaughtered Jedi Master Luke. We, however, didn't do that. So this is kind of the situation we're left in. And it does, I mean, this part does work for the most part. We zap out Jolie, and then that actually times out. And then I go in and take in Wampa. I want to see if this works, because we know that Wampa works versus JMK solo. We know that I've seen it work against Rey solo as well. C solo, and Jedi Master Luke, I thought he would actually, even with the days and whatnot, I thought he would have a pretty good shot, but I think this Jedi Master Luke was just taking maybe 4 turns to R1 or something like that, and it just wasn't enough. So we're at this point, we're really running out of teams to take down a solo Galactic Legend. So Trey, if your Trey is properly geared, like, not gear 12, this probably works fine. But I mean, he's basicing for 35k, and my Nihilist probably has 35k health. So we just pretty much get entirely wrecked on this one as well. I guess we took his protection down a little bit probably. But once Trey is out of here, there's really no point in continuing this match. So we try to bring in our leftover bounty hunters because, Boba does a decent amount of damage. If Fennec gets a few armor shreds, this probably works just fine. I don't think any of the other leads would have done better. Getting contract off with any of them was going to be really hard. We took in Iden next just because, all right, so this is the last team we have. Again, this probably would have worked just fine had the team not been entirely gear 12 or gear 11. So Jedi Master Luke just comes in, he does a number on us. We do get his health down, or not his health, his protection down a decent bit. Probably should have been keeping these battles because we're having to work his protection down each time. That's not a huge deal though. I mean, the issue is he has enough health stealed that he just keeps getting back. And I really felt bad about using this because Qui-Gon Jinn is actually a really good team, but it's his Omicron is entirely turned off against GLs. Like it non-existent. So this is the same Qui-Gon Jinn lead from 5 years ago when Zetas first came out. And it's just a shell of what his Omicron is. So of course we take this in and we kind of get somewhere, but at the same time he just slaughters us. So really no point in continuing this one either. And then finally I'm like, all right, so just for funsies, let's take in our gear 11, like 3-4-star Inquisitors, and see where they can get. So they have like a lot of anti-Jedi synergy. I've recently given them, all their Zetas. I'm like, they can, let's see what they can do. Let's give them a shot. And honestly, they do pretty good. Obviously they have a ton of anti-Jedi synergy, and Jedi Master Luke is not on his strongest. But just being able, between blind and foresight, being able to dodge those really, really big hits, that's really, really cool. And they have all the right debuffs, man. Defense down, armor shred, speed down, ability blocking, tenacity down so that everything lands. Stripping 100% turn meter from a Galactic Legend. That is really, really good. And both Seventh Sister was able to do it several times, and even Second Sister is able to strip quite a bit of turn meter. And then we get the foresight back up, and yeah, it's. So I know we hate on Inquisitors for a multitude of reasons, and a lot of that is valid, but To see them actually kind of do what they're supposed to do, it's pretty cool. Like this is pretty cool to see that them, even at, you know, gear 11 understart, and I mean, they of course don't have good mods because they're not gear 12 and they can't have 6E, but they're still able to function. You know, the healing immunity is also really important, getting that on him so that he's not, because all the other battles, we had a decent amount of DPS, but he was getting enough health steal on his basic when he was hitting us that it really didn't matter. And now we're just able to loop him. Obviously, this has taken a while. If we would have left one of the other battles that had taken away his protection, that would have been more ideal. That we wouldn't have had to work through all this. But, you know, I think by the end of this, he has like 4 stacks of armor shred on him, so his defense is pretty much gone, which is really, really cool. But yeah, getting those blinds on him, and it's just kind of cool to see what they can do, even when like a lot of my other really good teams. Granted, yeah, so like Trey was gear 12 as well. I think I did have a few relic characters like Sidious and whatnot. But just to see this being gear 11 and to seeing how far it comes to actually beating Jedi Master Luke, it actually goes pretty darn well, to the point where at this point I was watching, I'm like, oh my gosh, are they actually gonna do it? Are we actually gonna get there? And sure enough, we get the kill on him with 8 seconds to spare. So that ends up being the end of it. We do, of course, lose. I mean, we kind of knew that was going to happen from the very beginning once we failed on Lord Vader. But he did really well. He had to 2-shot our JMK with what I'm almost 100% sure is the Bounty Hunter gas trick, which that's very normal. That's not a weird thing. And then he had to 2-shot all of these. So maybe we would have had a shot. I don't think we would have had a shot at full clear. I played a little bit around in fleets after the stream was over, just to try some stuff. I don't think we would have won. I don't even know what he has in the back wall. It could also be something very good, but really good match with INC. Another loss, which is not, I mean, obviously it's not what we want, but it's something I can live with, and it was really cool to see Inquisitors do some work. So thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, stay awesome.